In today's video I'm going to show you how to turn these simple chicken legs into something a little bit more special for a beautiful main course. It'll be great as an alternative for a Christmas lunch or a roast dinner, so here's everything you need. So to begin, we'll lay our chicken leg down, skin side down, and you need to make sure you're using a really sharp knife. I'm using a boning knife for this, but almost any knife will be good for this job, just as long as it's nice and sharp. Then you need to feel for where the bone is and cut a line all the way along the bone, and that just opens it up slightly so you can start working your way down using the tip of the knife and releasing the meat from the bone. There'll be a joint in the middle and you just need to work around that. Just make really small cuts at a time. You really don't need to make big cuts here. This just helps keep control of exactly where you're cutting. So work your way around until the whole of the bone is revealed, and then you can place your knife underneath and just release it away. The most awkward part is around the joint in the middle, but just keep wiggling your knife and you'll get there. Then you can remove the bone completely. You can keep that to one side because you can use it for stock, sauces or gravies. And then you just want to feel over the chicken leg that you've boned out, and if there's any cartilage, just remove it. Once that's done, the skin should all be intact without any holes in, and the meat will be still attached. You can then lay it down, and if there's any skin that is without meat, you can remove it. Just simply cut it away, and then we'll be ready for the next step. So now we've deboned our chicken legs and they are nice and flat. So next we're just going to lightly season them, very lightly actually, with a little pinch of salt and pepper, because we're going to put stuffing inside and that's already seasoned, so the seasoning and flavours from that will infuse through our chicken. So just a little bit. So next we're going to take some of our stuffing, and this is my homemade stuffing. I posted this recipe before this one, so you can go back and have a look at that after you've watched this if you want to give this recipe a try. I'll also link it in the video description below. And you just want to take a good spoonful of it and then just form it into a ball. Roughly the size of a golf ball should do. And then we'll place that right into the center of our chicken. Next we're going to wrap the chicken around the stuffing, and then we'll flip it over and tighten it up into a nice ball shape, making sure that stuffing is covered all the way around. And then once that's done, I'm going to season it with a little bit of black pepper. I'm not going to add any salt at this point because we're going to add some pancetta over the top, which is already salty, and it's going to cook into that chicken. So we're just going to add a little bit of pepper to spice things up. We can now move our chicken just to one side while we get our pancetta ready. And what I'm going to do is lay a sheet of greaseproof paper down and then layer the pancetta on where it's slightly overlapping. I'll then place another sheet of greaseproof paper on top and use a rolling pin to flatten it out. This helps just to bind all the rashers together, and it also thins it out a little bit more so we can completely cover our whole stuffed chicken leg. We can then lay it over the top of the chicken and wrap it around until it's nicely covered. Now, wrapping them in pancetta is an optional step. You can just roast them as the stuffed chicken. They're absolutely beautiful. I made it last night as a trial run and I didn't put the pancetta on and they were spot on. But if you want to make them that little bit more special, add some sliced pancetta, or you could use smoked streaky bacon as well instead. Now, you could leave them like this. You can roast them like that. The shape might deform a little bit in the oven, or you can tie them up with some string. So I'll tie one with string and I'll leave one as it is so you can see the difference. And all you need to do is cut 3 or 4 pieces of string that can wrap all the way around. I'm not going to do any fancy butcher's knots. I'm simply just going to tie them off with a standard knot. Place it underneath. And then simply tie it nice and tight at the top. Cut off the excess string. We'll then place them into an oven dish and bake them at 200 degrees Celsius fan for around 45 minutes until nice and crisp on the outside and completely cooked through in the centre. They're ready when they reach an internal temperature of 72 degrees Celsius and above. So that's our stuffed chicken leg now ready, and I'm just going to leave it to rest for a few minutes before we cut into it and see what it's like inside. Serve this up with a roast dinner or sides of your choice. I'm going with some buttery mash and some honey roast carrots and parsnips. If you want to see the video for those, I'll link them in the description below. And of course you can finish this with a sauce or gravy of your choice. So there you go, that's how you turn a simple chicken leg into a beautiful main course. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to go ahead and check out the stuffing recipe and the honey roast carrots recipe in 2 ways. They're both live on the channel now, so go and have a look at them. I'll link them below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.